On the day the college entrance exam results were released, my roommate cried in front of the camera, calling me a thief. She accused me of stealing her earrings worth $500,000 and even questioned my exam scores, pointing fingers at my aunt, who was an invigilator. I kept explaining, but no one believed me. Everyone was convinced of my moral corruption, and the city launched a reinvestigation into my college entrance exam results. During that time, I was cyberbullied. And Lily even brought a group of people to my doorstep to pressure me into repaying debts. My mother was so enraged on the spot that she suffered a heart attack, and my house was mortgaged, leaving me with a tarnished reputation. I tried to rush out to seek help, but Lily ran me over with her car, killing me on the spot. Her voice choked with emotion. "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Will I go to jail?" Everyone around me ignored me, the victim lying on the ground struggling in my death throes. Instead, they went to comfort the beautiful, pitiful perpetrator. After my death, Lily was not convicted. Instead, they said they would compensate my family $500,000, which just offset the earrings. She forgave me. Opening my eyes again, I watched Lily weeping before the camera. My voice remained calm. "Lily, I recall your family members are just ordinary grassroots civil servants, right? Where did you get these 500,000 yuan earrings?" The scene fell into an instant silence, leaving only the journalists exchanging bewildered glances. After snapping back to reality, Lily's expression turned flustered as she hurriedly began to explain. "Luna, there's no need for you to twist the truth here. What we're discussing now is your cheating on the college entrance exam and your moral corruption. The college entrance exam represents the culmination of 3 years of relentless effort from countless families. Yet you relied on your aunt to help you cheat your way to the top, and you even stole my earrings. Don't you think this is utterly shameful?" I smiled, my expression calm and composed. "I can accept an investigation, can you?" Lily's breath hitched, and the reporters swarmed forward like sharks that had caught the scent of blood. For them, the fact that the top scorer in the national college entrance exam was a habitual cheater and thief was certainly sensational. But the source of the wealthy second generation's expensive jewelry, the underlying resentment toward the rich, and the vast amount of information that could be uncovered behind it, were even more likely to cause a nationwide uproar, reaching a broader audience. All the reporters decisively abandoned me, completely forgetting about my college entrance exam cheating and the stolen earrings. "Classmate Lily, I heard your parents' positions only bring in 4 or 5,000 in salary each month. Even with benefits and bonuses, they definitely couldn't afford these earrings. May I ask how you got them?" "Classmate Lily, if a pair of earrings can be this expensive, surely your family's cars and properties are even more valuable, right?" "Classmate Luna is willing to voluntarily undergo an investigation. What about you?" I watched with composure as Lily was surrounded and verbally attacked by the crowd. Her face drained of all color, she could only stagger backward. The best approach was not to prove one's innocence through constant explanations, but to muddy the waters further, forcing her to prove her own innocence as well. I want Lily to know how devastating it is to prove one's innocence after being slandered by online rumors. In my past life, I was just like that, enduring 3 years of verbal bullying from Lily. Isolated and helpless, I relied on cups of cheap coffee to stay awake, writing furiously through countless early mornings. And to keep myself fueled by hatred, I constantly forced myself to relive the memories of being humiliated by Lily. Under an intensity beyond what an ordinary person could endure, I became the city's top scorer and ranked 24th in the provincial exam, just when I thought I could finally escape Lily's torment and prove my capabilities, and make all those who had bullied me and my mother swallow their teeth in frustration. Lily stepped forward, accusing me with a face full of grievance. "Luna only got her high score because her aunt was the proctor and helped her cheat. This is unfair to the hundreds of thousands of other students taking the college entrance exam. I have to stand up for justice, and this so-called top scorer is a habitual thief. She stole my earrings worth 500,000 yuan. In an instant, my moment of glory became the darkest low point of my life. I frantically explained, trying to prove my innocence, but everyone only cared about the sensationalism. Attacking me indiscriminately, spreading rumors is easy, but refuting them takes endless effort. My aunt lost her job, her husband divorced her, and in the end, she died of depression. My mother and I were doxxed and cyberbullied, and Lily came to our door demanding repayment, forcing us to mortgage our house. In the end, my mother was so enraged that she suffered a heart attack on the spot. I rushed out to seek help but was run over by Lily's car. I will never forget the triumphant smile on her face before I died. After hitting me, Lily didn't flee. Instead, she cried out loudly, "I'm sorry, Luna, I really didn't see you. Will I go to jail? I'm still so young." The passers-by were all comforting her, while I struggled in a pool of blood, unnoticed by anyone. The pain throughout my body felt as if every bone had been crushed, and I was taken to the hospital by a kind-hearted person. Lily, however, came to the hospital and sat beside me, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "You thought becoming the top scorer in the college entrance exam would let you escape from me. You are a dog, and you will be a dog for life. I have already agreed to compensate you with 500,000, but it just so happens to offset the earrings you stole from me. Luna, I forgive you. I don't blame you for stealing from me anymore. Go and die in peace." My breathing grew rapid, hatred churning in my chest. She pulled out my oxygen tube, letting me die in suffocation. Yet after my death, she continued to live well, even though it was later proven that I didn't cheat, and that all the thefts during my 3 years of high school were fabricated. But no one cared. Netizens rushed to serve as old servants for the young lady Lily, allowing her to rake in a fortune. In this storm, the only ones who perished were me and my family. I clenched my fists, my anger nearly consuming my reason. Lily had no way to retreat. Everyone present was waiting for her answer. I said with a smile, "Lily, could it be that those earrings of yours are fake?" Lily glared at me fiercely. This was her only way out to avoid being investigated, but Lily, who had always held herself high and never used counterfeit goods, would never willingly admit to wearing fakes. Still trying to frame me with the price of a genuine item, this outcome will only make her lose face, because Lily knows perfectly well that my college entrance exam score is real. Once the investigation results come out, the one who ends up being laughed at will only be her. Lily, flushed with anger and shame, pushed through the crowd. "The earrings are real. They're a family heirloom passed down from my grandmother. Who says a family can't have a treasure to protect the home?" "Good," I thought with a cold laugh. "She's using her grandmother as a shield. Lily wants the internet to wipe out 3 generations of her family in one go." I cleared my throat, my voice firm and resounding. "I accept the investigation. I know how much pressure college entrance exam students are under. Each of us carries the hopes of our entire family. You should also know, Lily, why you would call us small-town exam grinders. Even if we score the highest, in the end, we'll just be working for your family." "Right, so you're making so many students feel disheartened, treating all their hard work as a joke." Lily was truly panicked, because this time the school had made a big show of promoting me as the top scorer. There were also many who had studied diligently through long, cold nights, finally making it onto the list, holding their admission letters in hand and weeping with joy. But when I said those words, the smiles on the faces of the students and parents present visibly froze. Some extreme parents even rushed forward to shove Lily, their anger boiling over. "How many times have I moved just to give my son a better environment? As a single mother, all I want is for my son to get into a top school, but your words completely dismiss all our hard work." "Fine, your family has money. Let me ask you, where did your family's money come from?" Lily had never been pointed at and scolded like this before. Throughout her 3 years of high school, she had always been the center of attention. She was the young lady people talked about, the pure campus belle, and the clever top student. But now, those eyes that should have been fawning were filled with coldness and hatred. She didn't realize that those people flattered her only because they wanted a piece of the pie, but once the meager interests of the common people were touched, it would inevitably lead to overwhelming backlash. Lily, as always, played the victim. Looking at me with reddened eyes, "Luna, how could you wrong me like this? When did I ever say such a thing? You can go check. My family is clean and above board." But I just tilted my head and smiled, looking completely innocent. "However, the surveillance camera recorded what you said. You didn't know there's a new surveillance camera in the hallway." Lily's face turned deathly pale, her entire body trembling uncontrollably, faced with the resentment and anger from parents and students. She could only bite her lower lip tightly. Reluctantly, she bowed in apology. After all, a slip of the tongue was a minor matter compared to wearing counterfeit goods and bullying classmates. Compared to the false accusations and the family's illicit income, this is truly a drop in the bucket. Lily's body swayed unsteadily, tears falling like pearls without end. "I'm sorry, it was just a moment of impulse. I hope everyone can forgive me, especially after I exposed Luna for cheating on the exam." He kept verbally attacking me, and I was forced to say those angry words out of helplessness. Lily was very beautiful, and when she cried, it was like pear blossoms in the rain, which moved many to pity. But I suddenly clapped my hands, startling everyone in an instant. "Sorry, classmate Lily, I forgot. There are no surveillance cameras in the hallway. Lily's body stiffened. Her disguise was almost torn away. Her eyes were filled with venom as she glared at me, wishing she could tear me apart. After a long while, she struggled to calm her anger, forcing a smile onto her face. It's all right, it's my fault, I'll admit it, whether there's surveillance or not, I won't deny it. As for Luna, cheating and theft, she still has to admit to it. Lily is clearly trying to nail me to the pillar of shame today. If I show even the slightest sign of backing down, I'll never be able to clear my name in the future. And Lily will definitely not give me a moment's respite. She would hire debt collectors while also manipulating the online narrative, attacking me from both sides and leaving me with no way out. I glanced at the principal, whose face had turned ashen, and Mr. Smith, the local leading entrepreneur who had promised to fund my university education. In my past life, I panicked and lost my way, focusing only on feeble explanations and falling into the trap of trying to prove my innocence, completely forgetting about these two influential figures. In our small fourth-tier city, not a single student had been admitted to Harvard or Yale University in the past 20 or 30 years. This time, I stood out, even surpassing the top student from our city's key high school by a full 52 points. For the current principal, this was the best achievement and resume, a stepping stone for his upward climb, and Lily's actions were meant to tarnish their school's reputation, cutting off his future path. Moreover, Mr. Smith, who values talent and cherishes it, was the only one 30 years ago to get into Harvard or Yale University. All these years, he has been tirelessly striving to cultivate the next promising candidate for Harvard or Yale University. One of them holds power, the other possesses wealth, both are connected to my interests, yet I foolishly refused to seek their help. With eyes reddened, I knelt before the principal, my voice filled with sorrow. Principal, our school has always maintained a strict academic atmosphere. How could cheating possibly occur? Moreover, during the third mock exam, if you recall, I retook the test alone in the examination hall. You know my capabilities well. We can't let Lily tarnish our school's reputation. The principal suddenly came to his senses. It was true, during the third mock exam, I had indeed taken the test alone. Because Lily had been bullying me for a long time, I refused to provide the answer. So she isolated me. On the playground, countless balls were always thrown at me. Even when I had my period during PE class, they would force me to run long distances. Every time, Lily would deliberately buy a lot of snacks and place them in front of me. I wanted to say, thank you, but no, yet she would suddenly pull her hand back, looking completely innocent. Sorry, you probably haven't tried this imported pure dark chocolate before. Besides, your skin is so dark already, you wouldn't want to get even darker from eating it. The classroom erupted in laughter. We had just finished military training. I couldn't afford sunscreen, so my skin had been burned dark and red. The boy said with a laugh, Blackie, are you his wife? You're both so dark. Your wife? I wouldn't even look at a Blackie. The girl kept scanning me with a mocking smile. They spread rumors about me without restraint. I heard her father borrowed from loan sharks and got hacked to death. Her mother turned to prostitution to pay off the debts. Do you think she might have some filthy disease? As soon as the words were spoken, everyone moved far away from me, as if I were some filthy virus. I cried and explained. Even went to the hospital for a checkup and brought the report back to class, but no one cared. They still spread rumors everywhere that I was sick. They even posted my photo at the entrance of the girls' restroom, forbidding me from entering. And the third mock exam was when I was taking medication while desperately pushing myself to study, looking at my consistently top-ranking grades. Lily falsely accused me of copying her answers. The entire class became witnesses. And the homeroom teacher sighed. Luna, everyone says you cheated. Who can prove otherwise? The principal's voice came from outside the door. Then let her retake the exam. With 4 proctors, the exam room will be left to her alone, and I will be present. In the second mock exam, I scored even higher than the first time. The principal immediately pulled me up and shielded me behind him, with confidence. He was finally willing to step forward. We are willing to accept the investigation. The surveillance footage can be reviewed at any time. I vouch for Luna with my 30-year career. Lily gritted her teeth, but she dared not drag the principal into the mess. With the principal's guarantee, Mr. Smith walked over. He patted me on the shoulder. It's all right, kid, we're here for you. Mr. Smith looked at Lily. I've said it before, if you become the city's top scorer, I'll reward you with 500,000 yuan. If you get into Harvard or Yale University, I'll give you 1,000,000 yuan, plus an apartment. Luna has always been number one, and she performed exceptionally well in the third mock exam. Why would she steal your earrings during the college entrance exam? Lily's legs went weak under the pressure from President Shen, but she refused to back down. Perhaps she was afraid she might underperform, so she took my earrings just in case. After all, everyone knows Luna's family is short on money, Mr. Smith said calmly. But I've already transferred 500,000 to Luna. There's no need for her to risk stealing from you. Both Luna and I were stunned for a moment, her face turning pale, yet I realized that Mr. Smith completely believed in me, even to the point of fabricating evidence. I seized the opportunity and pressed on step by step. I'll call the investigation team right now. The origin of your earrings will also be specifically investigated. If you say I stole your earrings, show me the evidence. Lily's pupils trembled. She couldn't produce any evidence at all, because in the past, all she had to do was open her mouth to ruin me completely. No one would have believed me, but now, Lily felt an unprecedented sense of humiliation. A familiar voice suddenly came from the distance. I turned around. It was my aunt. Her expression was stern. You have no evidence, but I do. Auntie walked over, followed by a timid girl. I recognized her. Jenny, she was my first friend. And also the one who stabbed me in the back the hardest. Lily furrowed her brows tightly, glaring fiercely at Jenny. Her face was pale, and she could only hide behind my aunt. My aunt pulled me over, her face full of heartache. It's okay, Auntie is here. Hearing those words, tears welled up in my eyes instantly. In my past life, my aunt had divorced, and her family had fallen apart. She was even dismissed from her post and investigated, burdened with false accusations. Yet she never once blamed me. Auntie glanced lightly at Jenny. Show the video you took to everyone, and repeat what you just said to me in the office in front of everyone. This scene before me had never occurred in my past life. When I was accused and pushed around by everyone, it was my aunt who kept shielding me with her own body, all those fists landing on her frail frame. But this time, I gave her enough time to calm down and think it over. Jenny, trembling under Lily's murderous glare, stammered out, it was Lily. She deliberately framed Luna, just like before. That day she didn't bring any earrings to the dormitory at all. Lily said she would ruin Luna's reputation, making it impossible for her to ever hold her head high in front of her again. Lily tried hard to maintain a gentle and proper demeanor, but her tightly clenched fists were so tense that she didn't even notice half of her manicured nail breaking off. Jenny, are you mistaken? I clearly wore earrings. Could it be that someone has bribed you? I remember you received the financial aid for needy students for 3 consecutive years, but it seems your family doesn't actually qualify, does it? Jenny trembled all over. She was guilty. I knew it well, because the spot she took was rightfully mine. For 3 years, I never stopped submitting applications for financial aid for impoverished students. I wanted to ease the burden on my family, but for 3 years, it was always Jenny, who lacked nothing in terms of food or clothing, who took my place. The reason was simple. It was all because Lily's father had pulled some strings. On top of that, Lily deliberately spread rumors everywhere that our family was pretending to be poor, leading both teachers and other students to believe it was true. Even many impoverished students detest me to the core. Yet they have no idea they are blaming the wrong person. Jenny was engaged in a fierce internal struggle. If she offended Lily, her father was still working at Lily's company, he would definitely be implicated, and her own act of fraudulently claiming poverty subsidies would be exposed, likely leading to the recovery of the funds. I knew exactly what Jenny was thinking, so I cut her off before she could speak. Lily, are you suggesting that the school is falsifying poverty subsidies? But the person most capable of pulling this off would be your father, who's a school board member and keeps boasting about donating an entire building, right? Are you confessing without being pressed? My words caught Lily by the throat. She seemed to choke on a wad of cotton, powerless and agitated. Finally unable to hold back, she screamed hysterically at me, "You're twisting the truth, Luna, you're so cunning." I ignored her and instead took Jenny's hand. Her palm was sweaty, and she looked at me in shock. Not understanding my actions, I looked at Mr. Smith. I heard your factory still has many technical positions to fill, and there aren't many people with such skills in a small city. The factory is newly opened, and the orders are numerous and urgent. I heard Jenny's father is a senior engineer. He would definitely be up to the task. Mr. Smith immediately became interested and turned his gaze to Jenny. Your father is a senior engineer. Would he be interested in coming to my factory? We can discuss the salary and benefits. Jenny's look of fear turned to joy. My meaning was clear. Even if her father was fired by Lily in retaliation, Mr. Smith's large company was eager for talent, let alone the difference between a nouveau riche and an entrepreneur. They were not even in the same league. Jenny agreed to Mr. Smith's offer almost immediately. My father has always wanted to work at Mr. Smith's company. His expertise is a perfect match, and he will definitely not disappoint you. After speaking, Jenny looked at Lily's unpleasant expression with a face full of mockery. I have a video here. At that time, Lily forced us to frame Luna. I couldn't bear it in my heart, so I recorded the video, just for this day, to publicly expose her hypocritical true face. Lily was practically fuming with rage as Jenny smugly displayed her phone for everyone to see. It clearly recorded the entire process of how Lily had wronged me. In the video, Jenny asked uncertainly, "Luna has already moved out, can we still frame her?" Lily replied impatiently, "Then we'll find a way to trick her into coming back, and wait until the day she's at her most glorious. I will make her fall into hell, never to rise again." After the video finished playing, Lily was already paralyzed with fear. Everyone was in an uproar, never expecting the aloof campus belle to be so vicious. The principal's expression was grave. "Lily, your conduct is improper, and you have maliciously framed others. I will also investigate the matter of the poverty subsidy, as you have already been involved in illegal activities. Therefore, I am now publicly announcing across the entire school that you are expelled." Lily looked up in disbelief, her expression utterly shattered. "Principal, I've already graduated and am about to start university soon. Aren't you forcing me to die? To get expelled from university, this will ruin my entire life." The principal was unmoved by Lily's tearful plea and simply retorted, "If it weren't for Luna finding a way to prove her innocence today, then didn't you also ruin her life?" Lily was filled with hatred, yet she was powerless to refute. Mr. Smith added fuel to the fire. "And the origin of your earrings? You said they were a family heirloom from your grandmother, but I recall, isn't this the latest GF model from this year? This brand is known by very few. It's truly top-tier luxury. Your grandmother's heirloom. Has it only started being passed down this year? Moreover, the jewelry is not sold separately. You know better than I do how much the entire set costs. I will work with the investigation team to pursue this matter to the end." Mr. Smith's relentless questioning left Lily's face ashen. She was filled with dread, yet dared not confront Mr. Smith head-on. The reporters were still frantically zooming in on Lily's face with their cameras. I am well aware of why Mr. Smith is so fixated on this matter. 10 years ago, Lily's family was still an ordinary household, but the very next year, they suddenly became wealthy. She despises it when others bring up her original family background, yet there is no shortage of people who dislike her and have passed such remarks to my ears. That year, in order to alleviate poverty, a significant amount of funds was allocated from above. Other cities and counties have all begun planning for a moderately prosperous society for all. Only here, unfinished buildings still stand, and we remain at the bottom of the GDP rankings. It is known as the poorest city, and everyone knows that the person in charge back then was Lily's father. Mr. Smith is determined to develop his hometown, and he usually doesn't actively provoke parasites like Lily's father. But since they've come knocking on his door, he'll handle it personally. For him, there's only enough benefit and no harm in doing so. The reporter continued to provoke Lily. "Miss Lily, is your family feeding off the blood of others, calling this year's new model a family heirloom? Aren't you afraid of being exposed and exposed for what it is?" The parents below also pointed at Lily, discussing her incessantly. "I think Lily is full of lies. This probably isn't the first time she's framed and slandered someone. Looking at it this way, Luna is truly innocent. That top scholar must be the real deal. I could tell at a glance. She doesn't look like the type to steal or cheat." I remained calm. These people speaking up for me were the very ones who had accused and insulted me in my past life. They didn't care about the truth, only the outcome. Lily could no longer bear it. She pushed through the crowd and rushed out. Before leaving, she shot Jenny a dark, venomous glare, then got into a car and drove away, her eyes filled with resentment. Jenny's face was full of provocation and smugness as she held my hand, looking all ingratiating. "Luna, I've long been fed up with Lily. She framed and set you up, and I deliberately left evidence behind, just so I could help you." Listening to Jenny's hypocritical words, I could only find it laughable. The reason she recorded the video as evidence was merely to have leverage over Lily. To secure more benefits for herself. Choosing to help me was also just a decision made after weighing the pros and cons. My smile deepened. "Well, thank you for that." Watching Jenny breathe a sigh of relief, my heart was filled with nothing but mockery. Did she really think I would forgive her? If Lily was the one who directly harmed me, then she was the accomplice who handed over the knife. Now that she and Lily have completely fallen out, Lily's anger should be borne by her. After Lily left, I also returned home, only to find the school forum flooded with various posts about her. This time, it wasn't flattery or praise, but rather all sorts of rumors, complaints, and belittlement. Some even maliciously photoshopped images of Lily, making them bloody and disgusting. The internet was also flooded with cyberbullying, with many people already starting to dox Lily's entire family, despite Lily's family spending money to suppress the trending topics. It was all in vain, because the capital behind this operation had Mr. Smith. In her past life, Lily believed she had money and power, using it to buy trending topics and hire trolls to ruin me completely. This time, let them also taste the helplessness of being crushed by those in power. When I got home, my mom was busy in the kitchen. Seeing me return, she quickly wiped her apron, her face full of affection. "Luna's back, come eat quickly, I made your favorite braised pork ribs." My nose tingled with sourness, my heart swelling with an unbearable ache. I threw myself forward and hugged my mother, feeling the beat of her heart and the warmth of her skin. The image in my mind of her body turning cold, her blood slowly congealing, was finally shattered. I cried my heart out. "Mom, you're alive, I've missed you so much." My mother was so flustered that she could only pat my back to comfort me. "Luna, what's wrong?" "Mom is fine, don't cry." It took a long time before I finally calmed down. I looked at the shabby house. This neighborhood was an old residential area that had been around for decades. The demolition is imminent, and it's a dangerous building. So many people have already moved out. Originally, my mother and I were supposed to receive a demolition compensation, but Lily forced us to sign it away to pay off debts. I held my mother's hand tightly, trying to keep my tone as gentle as possible. "Mom, does Grandma know yet that I was the top scorer in the college entrance exam? Go to the countryside and talk to my grandma for me." My mom was still hesitating, but after I kept pestering her, she finally agreed. It wasn't until I saw my mom off at the bus station that I finally felt at ease. Lily's father is the local bully. Although Mr. Smith would protect me, he doesn't have the time to keep an eye on me all the time. It had barely been 2 hours, and the school forum was directly shut down. News of the car accident involving Jenny and her father, where her father had both arms crushed and Jenny died on the spot, quickly spread. The school group chat was flooded with reposts, and some even uploaded videos online, but they vanished without a trace within minutes. The driver responsible for the accident also turned himself in at the earliest opportunity. He was a gambler, penniless. Not even a single cent of compensation could be obtained, willingly accepting the death penalty. This left Jenny's family utterly devastated. So the next day, Jenny's mother came to find me. She knelt before me, pleading for mercy, blocking my way. "Luna, we both know very well that this car accident must have been caused by Lily. My daughter was targeted for revenge because of you. You can't just ignore this." I looked at her with composure, my tone calm. "And how do you expect me to handle it?" Her eyes lit up, and she immediately stood up. "You ask General Smith for help, then find a way to have Lily arrested and brought to justice. Finally, compensate me with a large sum of money. Just 2 million will do. Your involvement will definitely work, especially with your top scholar status, and use the previous incident where Lily wrongfully accused you to make a case." Gathering the media, she didn't dare not admit it. I sneered. This was just pushing me to be the one to take the fall. And she hid behind everyone else, waiting to pocket a hefty compensation. Looking at her face full of scheming, I remembered how Jenny had cornered me in the alley with her people. I begged her for help. With just a word from her, Jenny wouldn't have dared to lay another hand on me, yet she responded with a cold, indifferent expression. "Jenny, once you're done roughhousing with your classmates, hurry home." Later, I even mustered the courage to go to Jenny's house, hoping she would testify so I could report Lily for bullying, but Jenny's mother sneered and said, "It's none of my daughter's business. Why should she get involved for you? Why does Lily bully you and not others? You should look for the reason within yourself." Recalling what Jenny's mother once said, my expression darkened, and I sneered mockingly. "It's none of my business, so why should I care about you? Why did Lily hit your daughter and not someone else? Don't you think you should look for the reason within yourself?" Jenny's mother couldn't believe I would actually say such a thing. She wanted to scold me, but her face instantly turned pale. These 3 sentences were all too familiar. "It seems, she said that too." Ignoring her distraught appearance, I walked straight past her. The chance to save her daughter was something she gave up with her own hands. all the surveillance footage has been investigated. Everyone has been questioned. And it has been confirmed that there was no leak of exam questions for this year's college entrance examination. I did not cheat on the exam, and my aunt did not commit any violations. Our innocence was made public, and I was the genuine top scorer in the national college entrance examination. For a time, my alma mater was in the spotlight, and the principal frequently gave interviews. As agreed, Mr. Smith transferred $1 million into my account. I even specially bought a new energy vehicle to have me pose for photos. Of course I would go, after all, that's my value to them. Meanwhile, the situation with Lily was growing increasingly severe, with many buses already stationed in the city. Lily's entire family was under investigation, and people were being questioned everywhere. The entire process and items of the appropriation back then were also uncovered and scrutinized one by one. Lily's father even took the initiative to bring her to me. Looking utterly sincere, classmate Luna, I know this is all due to Lily's immaturity, and she has done many wrong things. Now I've brought her here to apologize to you, hoping you can forgive her. I remained silent, while Lily raged like a madwoman, screaming like a shrew. Now, her face was haggard, her hair disheveled, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. It was clear she hadn't slept well in a long time. Why should I apologize to her? She's just a lowlife, nothing but my dog. Lily's father kicked her hard, his face dark and grim. Fool, it's all because of you that things have come to this. You framed and wronged classmate Luna, you must apologize. Then he looked at me, his shrewd eyes well disguised. Luna, as long as it can make you feel better, go ahead and hit her. I promise, I won't see anything, and I definitely won't hold you accountable. I looked at Lily, who was clutching her stomach, gritting her teeth and glaring at me with venomous hatred. Luna, how dare you lay a hand on me? Have you forgotten? A crisp slap rang out, and Lily froze. A red palm print bloomed on her fair cheek. Lily couldn't believe I had actually struck her, her face flushed with anger. Luna, you're insane. Another slap, and I struck Lily so hard that blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Lily's pupils trembled slightly. This was the first time she had ever shown fear in my presence. I took out a ballpoint pen and drove it fiercely into the back of Lily's hand. She let out a painful scream, her pretty face twisting in agony. I, however, smiled. Lily, I haven't forgotten. For the past 3 years, I've remembered every single thing you did to me. Watching the dark holes on the back of my hand continue to bleed, I took out a pair of scissors and, ignoring Lily's resistance, cut her hair into a complete mess. Lily screamed hysterically, clutching the bald patch on the back of her head as she broke down in tears. This was nothing compared to what came next. In my second year of high school, I listened to my mom and braided my hair into pigtails. Lily said I looked tacky and insisted on giving me a makeover herself, so several people held me down while scissors sheared off the hair I'd grown for a year, right against my scalp. The back of my head is almost completely bald. Yet Lily can't stop laughing. Haha, that suits you perfectly. Ever since then, I've been wearing a hat, but my hat always gets tossed around. Lily liked sitting next to me. She held my arm and said to the teacher, I'm not good at science, so I want to compliment Luna. I really like Luna, and we're going to be good desk mates for 3 years. But beneath her sweet smile, her nails dug into my flesh. My hand was covered with holes she had poked. And my seat was always stained with dirty water or red ink. Even the food I got from the cafeteria would be topped with expired dog food, and she would force my head down to make me eat it. Thinking of the past, every pore in my body screamed to kill her, but reason overcame anger, and I brought yesterday's leftovers from the kitchen. It was summer, and the food left out overnight had already begun to sour and stink. Lily's face was full of panic as she kept backing away. What do you want? I won't eat it. Get away from me. Lily tried to run, but her father pinned her to the ground. Lily cried until her voice was hoarse, and I pried her mouth open. I poured all the leftover food into her mouth, not letting go until the bowl was empty. Lily lay on the ground, vomiting uncontrollably, looking utterly wretched. In the end, Lily's father still felt sorry for his daughter, but he also completely dropped his pretense. His voice cold and detached. Now, is that enough? You and Lily are even. As long as you admit that you did steal Lily's earrings, and prove that those earrings are fakes, to put an end to the uproar, I'll give you however much money you want. I sneered mockingly. A large transfer. As soon as I accept it, you'll have me arrested for extortion, then your daughter's reputation will be restored, and you won't face any investigation. In the end, I'll be the only one sacrificed in this storm, right? Lily's father's expression changed. He clearly hadn't expected a high school student like me to think so deeply. I smiled, looking past Lily's father, the corners of my mouth curling upward, still trying to save face. The people coming to arrest you are here. Lily's father was filled with terror. He slowly turned his head to see rows of people in suits standing at the door. The leader presented his credentials with a stern expression. David, come with us. As soon as the words were spoken, David had already collapsed to his knees. Powerless, dragged out by several men, Lily had completely broken down, her eyes red. She glared at me. Luna, do you think you've won? I'm telling you, you'll never be able to do anything to me. Lily staggered to her feet, wiping her face haphazardly with her arm. Luna, my family has already anticipated this. I'll be on a plane tonight. If you get sent abroad, you can go and complain. You can tell Mr. Smith, or you can tell the investigation team, but I have absolutely no connection to my family. You still lost. Utterly defeated, Lily revealed a smile, letting out an unrestrained, wild laugh as she left. I smiled mockingly. Those who pop the champagne at halftime often don't end well. Of course, I had to share this good news. After all, someone needed to give you a proper send-off. I dialed Jenny's mother's number, and it took a long time before she answered. Lily is leaving the country tonight. From now on, she'll continue living a life of extravagance abroad. Your daughter's death was as simple to her as crushing an ant, and she already knows you came to see me. Do you think she'll let you go before she leaves? Jenny's mother remained silent for a long time, but her heavy breathing grew increasingly rapid. She gritted her teeth, her words dripping with hatred from start to finish. Are the lives of the poor not lives? My daughter did so much for her, only to be crushed to death by people she hired. Just yesterday, my husband also died from a postoperative infection, suffering greatly before his death. Yet the one responsible for all this is about to flee abroad to escape justice. How is that fair? Since she won't give me the money and even wants to kill me, then she can forget about leaving either. The call was promptly hung up. I checked the time. Less than 2 hours until dark. Lily, you'd better move quickly. Close to midnight, I received a call from Jenny's mother. Her voice sounded as if she had aged more than 10 years. Luna, I apologize for everything my daughter has done to you. Indeed, one doesn't know the pain until the stick falls on their own back. I have nothing left. I just want to return to the countryside. But why does she keep pushing me into a corner? My voice was calm, and I was already dressed. Where are you? After Jenny's mother clearly stated the address, I rushed over in 20 minutes. By the time I arrived, Jenny's mother had already taken her own life, and beside her body, Lily was struggling desperately in a pool of blood. She was vomiting blood profusely, curled up in agony. I stood before her, Lily unable to lift her head. The moment she saw me, her face was filled with hatred. It's you, Luna. You made this crazy woman drive to hit me. I already let you go. Why must you make me die? I remain unmoved. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Why are you so determined to see me dead? Lily didn't have much longer to live. Judging by the traces at the scene, Jenny's mother had first crashed her car into Lily's vehicle, then she dragged her out and ran over her again. The scene was a bloody mess, and Lily was already fading in and out of consciousness. She reached out her hand to me, pleading humbly, "Save me, and I will atone for everything I've done. Save me, and I'll transfer all my overseas assets to you. Please, Luna." I took a step back, avoiding her bloodied hand as it reached for my pant leg. Once that bloody handprint was smeared on me, I could never fully extricate myself from this case. Lily was a vicious wolf, determined to bite back even in her dying moments. I said in a flat tone, "Lily, do you believe in past lives and present lives? In my past life, you caused my family to be destroyed and then ran me over with your car. Watching me struggle in agony, you deliberately guided everyone to care about you instead, leaving me ignored. Even when a kind-hearted person sent me to the hospital for emergency treatment, you too insist on pulling out my oxygen tube, letting me suffocate to death. Now, why should I save you?" Lily trembled with rage. "Luna, even as a ghost, I won't let you off. You deserve to die. Why do you act so high and mighty? Why should you die just because you don't listen to me?" I ignored Lily and instead poured the prepared gasoline over her. Lily was drenched in gasoline, her face pale with terror as she pleaded for mercy. "Luna, get a grip. This is a human life we're talking about. I beg you, what I said earlier was wrong. Don't kill me. I still have so much money. I can't die." I took out a lighter, the flame emitting a faint light in the darkness. "Lily, do you know, the only fairness in this world is, whether you are rich or poor, you cannot escape death. Lily, go to your death in peace, After I finished speaking, I threw the lighter over. In an instant, flames shot into the sky, and Lily, engulfed by the fierce fire, let out a heart-wrenching scream. I sat by the roadside, watching my nightmare slowly burn to ashes before my eyes. Only at this moment did I finally feel a sense of release. I have avenged myself. Fire will burn away all evidence. It would also bring about a new beginning for me. I returned home as if nothing had happened, and the fire was reported, but no one investigated me, and the final conclusion was that Lily was retaliated against by Jenny's mother. In the end, before committing suicide, she set the fire to take them both down together. After the case was closed, I spent money to take my mom and aunt on a nice trip. My aunt and uncle filed for divorce. Their relationship had long been strained. This time, it wasn't my uncle who left her. Instead, it was my aunt who initiated the divorce. After Lily's parents were investigated, it was indeed confirmed that they were guilty of corruption and bribery. They have been sentenced to 20 years in prison, with lifelong deprivation of political rights. They thought they had already sent their daughter abroad to enjoy the assets they had transferred out long ago. I personally went to inform them of Lily's death, watching the two of them break down completely, cursing at me. My smile gradually deepened as all those assets were taken back. After the holiday ended, I packed my bags and boarded a high-speed train to B City. After entering the prestigious university, the excellent academic atmosphere made me feel completely at ease. Every individual is the pride of their own locality, 1 in 10,000, and among these prodigies, I will strive even harder, not to waste this second chance at life. Prestigious schools, promising futures, opportunities to change destiny, ladders to transcend social classes. All of this was originally the reward I should have earned through 3 years of hard work, but in my previous life, it was destroyed because of Lily. Now, I have protected my family, and I have also reclaimed everything that belongs to me. From now on, light will follow me like a shadow, while sin and disgrace are left behind in that night of raging flames. The future holds promise. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My roommate came up with a get-rich-quick scheme, intentionally letting fruit that costs 1.5 yuan per kilogram go moldy, then selling it at a high price on second-hand platforms. But moldy fruit is highly carcinogenic, so I advised her not to take the risk. If she got cancer, no amount of oranges could save her. My roommate reluctantly gave up on cultivating moldy fruit and settled for a steady job. Later, however, a dorm in our school collectively cultivated mold, making over 300,000 yuan in just one semester. My roommate thought I was blocking her path to wealth, so she stuffed my mouth and nose with moldy fruit, causing me to choke to death. That 300,000 should have been mine. It's all because of your ill intentions that I'm stuck doing odd jobs for just 5,000 a month. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day she vowed to cultivate moldy fruit. This time, I won't try to persuade her again. Instead, I'll watch with my own eyes as she becomes infected and cancerous amidst the mold. Whose fruit is this on the floor? It's all moldy and the smell is suffocating. In summer, fruit tends to spoil easily, either rotting into a watery mess or growing mold, both giving off an unpleasant odor. What's more, the dorm's supervisor is coming to inspect the hygiene today, and the green mold on that spoiled orange has just burst open, scattering all over the floor we just mopped. In my previous life, I was just too quick with my hands. I said I was taking out the trash and immediately went looking for a bin. When I returned to the dorm, Arya, who had just finished her business in the bathroom, hysterically demanded to know where her oranges had gone, and the dorm monitor, Susan, along with our other roommate, Linda, both pointed at me in unison. Emma threw them away. We were about to ask if they were yours, but she tossed the oranges into the trash without a word. This time, I directly denied it 3 times in a row. It's not mine. I haven't bought any oranges since after the new year. I always buy fruit and eat it the same day. Linda also shook her head and said it wasn't hers. Susan gritted her teeth. Then it must be Arya's. She's the only one in our dorm who buys things she can't finish and just leaves them to rot, never bothering to throw them out. That's why the dorm always smells. Every time we clean, she suddenly gets a stomachache. If you didn't know better, you'd think she was a dung beetle reincarnated. With how much she loved squatting in the bathroom, seeing that none of us responded, her scolding lost its momentum. Who's going to throw this thing away? I hesitated. After all, it's Arya's stuff. We should wait for her to come back and ask my ass. If we wait any longer, the dorm supervisor will come for inspection. What if we get points deducted? With that, she reached out and picked up the moldy orange, not even bothering to wear a mask. Just then, Arya returned. Seeing the moldy orange in Susan's hand, she let out a sharp, piercing shriek. "Put my orange down, Susan. Are you that bored? My orange was perfectly fine where it was. How dare you get rid of all my penicillin mold?" Seeing the dark green stains all over the floor, she rushed over and snatched the moldy orange away. Another burst of green mold spores exploded into the air, and I quickly ran to the hallway, covering my nose and mouth with my sleeve. "Arya, are you insane? The dorm supervisor is checking the rooms today, and we had everything cleaned up. Because of your orange, we have to mop the floor all over again." Susan didn't know that Arya had been cultivating that moldy orange since last month. Only the one in her hand succeeded. I also heard her muttering that one moldy orange was worth 500, so 20 would be 10,000. After that 10,000 was actually sold on the platform, she doubled down on cultivating moldy fruit in the dorm. It got to the point where as soon as we entered the dorm, we were hit by an overwhelming sour stench. Besides the moldy fruit, even more fruit had rotted and grown maggots. The smell mixed together was enough to make one's soul leave their body. Our dorm is practically turning into a sewage ditch. Can someone talk to her about it? I'm seriously about to gag. Even in class, you can smell the stench coming off her. If she needs to make money, why doesn't she just rent a place outside? The three of us paid for this dorm too. Arya is raking in tens of thousands. But we haven't seen a single penny of hardship pay from her. We may grumble about it in private, but no one actually dares to say it to her face, because Arya is a student from a poor family. If we show even the slightest hint of treating her poorly, she immediately accuses everyone of looking down on her for being poor. In the end, we get called in for a talk by the counselor, lectured by the principal about taking care of our classmates, and even publicly criticized in a school-wide announcement, leaving us feeling ashamed for a long time. On top of that, when the dorm supervisor said our room had too much trash and wanted to deduct points, Arya pulled out her poor student card, crying that she grew up in poverty and wanted to save the trash her roommates didn't want to sell for money. "Please don't deduct points, dorm supervisor." Once or twice, they managed to get away with it, and even when the dorm supervisor said something, it didn't help. Susan later became lax because of this. After all, with Arya around, even if they didn't clean, the supervisor wouldn't deduct points. I thought to myself, this is all because of a lack of money. So, I pulled some strings and found Arya a clerical job that pays 5,000 a month, with no more than 36 hours of work per week. She also educated Arya on how moldy fruits can easily cause fungal infections in the lungs and even lead to cancer. Feeling both relieved and grateful, she went to work. Not only did she have more financial flexibility, but her dormitory environment had also improved significantly. Free from the lingering musty smell that had clung to her for years, she devoted even more time to her studies. Soon, she became the school's image ambassador, earning widespread admiration online. However, as the dormitory of an image ambassador, our room faced stricter hygiene inspections. Arya always skips cleaning duties, and our dorm monitors Susan and Linda have been complaining about me, both openly and behind my back. They talked behind my back to Arya. "Hey, I heard there's a dorm in our school that made 300,000 a month selling moldy fruit." That much? Honestly, if it weren't for Emma stirring up trouble, maybe our dorm's Arya would have been a millionaire by now. In a fit of rage, Arya quickly verified the claim and was stunned to find that a dormitory had indeed earned 300,000 yuan in just half a semester. She only made 5,000 yuan a month, and her heart was instantly filled with resentment. I bought more fruit than they did, and there was more spoilage. If I had sold it all, I would have made far more than 300,000 yuan. You forced me to humble myself and take odd jobs for others. You just couldn't stand to see me succeed. She stuffed moldy fruit and putrid, foul water into my mouth and nose. I struggled to breathe and was choked to death, and to this day, I still can't forget the feeling of suffocation and stifling. Fortunately, I was reborn. In the air, the faintly visible blue mold spores could be seen floating, yet Arya and Susan were shouting and screaming, completely unfazed by the penicillin mold. What's wrong with a dorm inspection? The dorm supervisor would only praise me for thinking of a way to make money from moldy oranges. Let me tell you, these oranges are worth 10,000 yuan. You ruined my penicillin mold, so you owe me 10,000. Susan was instantly stunned. "I have to pay you? Dream on. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't buy your lousy oranges. I worked so hard to cultivate that penicillin mold. Only someone kicked in the head by a donkey would sell it to you. You damaged my personal property, so you owe me 10,000, and the oranges are still mine. Arya said that even though the penicillin mold was now much less valuable, she could still easily sell it for 5,000. Susan was infuriated by her bandit logic. Meanwhile, Linda was enjoying the show and even added fuel to the fire. Susan, if you hadn't pulled out the oranges, the floor wouldn't have gotten dirty. I think you should stop worrying about this and just mop the floor first. Otherwise, you'll definitely be in trouble when the dorm supervisor comes. Arya, it's also your fault for not telling us about the oranges earlier. If you had, we wouldn't have touched them, and since you just got back from the bathroom and haven't cleaned up yet, Susan has been wanting you to mop the floor since this morning. Linda is nothing but a troublemaker, with her persuasion. The three of them started arguing and ended up cursing at each other. They breathed in and out heavily, inhaling and exhaling air filled with penicillium mold. I watched in fear and trepidation, until Arya turned her gaze toward me. We're all busy here. Emma, what are you doing outside the door? Trying to avoid cleaning, aren't you? I took 2 more steps back. I have rhinitis. There's too much mold in there. I'll have trouble breathing if I go in. Arya cursed loudly. What's with all the excuses? I think you just don't want to mop the floor. But it was true, a few months ago. The school was full of willow catkins, and I had to wear a mask for months. Sometimes even wearing a mask didn't help. Staying in this moldy environment for too long can easily lead to difficulty breathing. Afraid of getting into trouble, the dorm mates ultimately didn't dare let me in, but the people inside the room were having quite an unpleasant argument. Arya placed the moldy orange on the table, and Susan immediately yelled at her to take it out. We just finished cleaning the floor. If you dirty the room by putting it on the table, you'll have to mop it yourself. Arya was displeased. Anyway, I'm a student from a poor family, and the dorm supervisor doesn't care about these things. Why do you have to meddle? As the dorm leader, I have to take charge. In my previous life, because I threw away Arya's oranges, she cursed at me for 3 days and 3 nights straight, even waking me up in the middle of the night when she went to the bathroom just to continue berating me. Meanwhile, Susan and Linda played the good cop, urging me to take a step back for the sake of harmony, and even suggested I compensate Arya to keep the peace in the dorm. Without me as the punching bag this time around, the dorm atmosphere immediately grew tense. Arya glared at me outside the door, reaching out to hand me the moldy orange. I couldn't help but sneeze. The flesh on Arya's face trembled. Get out, get far away. Don't ruin the mold on my orange. One sneeze from you costs 500. I quickly fled. My nose is uncomfortable. I'm going to buy some medicine. Behind me, however, came a series of banging noises and roars. I went out, threw my coat into the trash, bought a sun hat, and then went to the campus hospital to get some medicine for rhinitis before heading back to the dorm. But as I passed by the delivery lockers next to the campus commercial street, I suddenly saw Arya's figure. She was carrying an oversized suitcase. I pulled down the brim of my hat and watched Arya use her phone to retrieve one heavy cardboard box after another from the delivery locker. Inside were 5-kilogram bags of apples and oranges. After picking up the packages, she went to the school fruit stall and bought up all the half-rotten fruit priced at 1.5 yuan per half kilogram. Then, with great effort, I dragged my suitcase toward the dormitory building. In my previous life, I had thrown away Arya's moldy oranges and ended up paying her 10,000 yuan, thinking it was just my bad luck. Afterward, though I was still fuming, I considered that Arya was a student from a poor family and might genuinely be in desperate need of money, so I thought of buying some fruit to apologize to her. On the way back to the dorm, I saw her carrying such a large suitcase, so I took the initiative to walk over and offer my help. Arya, let me help you carry it. Consider this fruit as my apology. Please don't be angry anymore. Arya accepted the oranges but still looked at me with a mix of annoyance and scrutiny. All right, I forgive you. Emma, if you ever have leftover fruit in the future, you can give it all to me. I didn't say anything and helped her lift the suitcase, but she shifted all the weight onto my side. After that, she even went further and directly placed the 2 peaches I bought for 10 yuan among her moldy oranges. She kept saying that my peaches had been sitting on the table for over an hour without being touched, so she thought I didn't want them anymore, but at that time, I was clearly busy doing laundry and didn't have time to eat them. This time, I pretended not to see it and waited until she had moved her suitcase upstairs before returning to the dorm, but Susan in the dormitory completely exploded. Didn't I say the dorm supervisor is checking hygiene today? Can't you wait until she's gone before taking out your fruit? Arya wasn't having it. Can you stop making such a big deal out of nothing? It's just a little fruit. What if the supervisor sees it? Is she going to stop me from eating fruit? If she won't let me keep it out, I'll take it all the way to the principal and ask if even poor students aren't allowed the freedom to have fruit." Susan was so angry she could barely speak coherently. "What does this have to do with fruit freedom?" Seeing they were about to start arguing again, I quickly spoke up. "With Arya in our dorm, the supervisor won't deduct our hygiene points anyway. Besides, fruit spoils easily in summer. It's better for her to take it out early and eat it sooner." Arya smugly glanced at Susan. "See, you're the only one making a fuss. Emma is much more sensible than you." Susan gritted her teeth and dragged a chair over, the legs scraping sharply against the tile floor. By the time the dorm supervisor came to check, the floor of the room had been completely taken over by Arya's fruit. Even the various wrappers, bags, and fruit leaves were scattered everywhere, leaving no place to step for a moment. The aunt frowned as she watched. "Arya, didn't you know there was a dormitory inspection today?" "Susan, how did you notify your roommate?" Susan felt wronged, but the aunt didn't care. "As the dorm leader, it's your responsibility to keep your roommates in check. I didn't deduct points the first couple of times, but you just keep pushing your luck." Susan cried out in frustration. "It's not that I don't want to manage things, but Arya just won't listen." "Arya is your roommate. As the dorm leader, what's wrong with putting in a little more effort to look after her?" Arya pouted in grievance. "Auntie, she had someone clean up before I went to get the package. So I thought the dorm inspection was already over, but when I came back with the package, she made me clean again." She couldn't even explain things clearly. "It's not my fault." "You're lying." The dorm supervisor's face turned completely cold. "Susan, if you can't handle being the dorm leader, we'll find someone else to do it." Susan's eyes instantly reddened. "Fine, I don't want to be the dorm leader anyway. I don't even care." After she ran out, Arya eagerly stepped forward. "Auntie, let me be the dorm leader. I promise to do a good job and manage them well." The dorm supervisor was still hesitant, but Arya continued. "Auntie, from now on, if there are any announcements in the dorm leader group chat, I'll make sure to tell them as soon as I see them." The dorm supervisor hesitated, reluctant to give it to her, but now that Susan had run off, and neither Linda nor I had any interest in taking on the role, the aunt had no choice but to let her become the dorm leader. I almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. In my past life, it was me who coaxed Arya into not letting her moldy oranges rot in the dorm. I even found her a job to keep her from causing trouble. This time, I let her take over as the dorm leader right away. "Looks like this dorm is completely uninhabitable now." Before leaving, the dorm auntie reminded us, "Don't leave fruit on the floor. Clean it all up." "Okay." Arya nodded in agreement. I was thinking that Arya would probably cause trouble soon, so I needed to pack my things and move out as quickly as possible. Just then, a scream rang out in my ears. "Arya, what are you doing?" Looking up, I saw Arya placing the fruit bag that had just been spread on the floor onto Linda's bed. Linda's voice startled her so much she jumped. A peach fell straight to the ground. "What are you shouting about? You scared me to death." Linda held back her anger. "That bag was just on the floor. It's so dirty. Why did you put it on my bed?" Arya didn't think much of it. "What's wrong with putting it on your bed? Didn't you hear the dorm auntie say we can't leave things on the floor? Don't just stand there. Hurry up and put my fruit away on your beds, or I'll tell the dorm supervisor you're not keeping the place clean." Linda looked like she was about to cry from anger. She tugged at my clothes and complained to Arya. "Emma, you be the judge. Why should her fruit be on our beds?" After saying that, she even gave me a little push toward Arya. Arya held her peach, standing by my bed with her hand itching to place it there. I frowned. "Arya, you know me. I usually like to keep a humidifier running. My bed is damp, so your peach probably won't grow mold on it." "Maybe." I glanced toward the bathroom. She looked utterly disgusted. "Emma, how can you be so disgusting?" I almost couldn't hold back. She had the nerve to criticize me when she left fruit in the room to rot and breed maggots. But I could only swallow my anger. "I have dry skin. If I don't moisturize, it gets flaky." Linda asked doubtfully from behind me. "Aren't you supposed to have normal skin?" It suddenly turned dry. "Otherwise why would I use a humidifier every day?" Before Linda could continue pestering, Arya went ahead and placed the fruit on her bed. Linda wanted to take it down, but Arya shouted loudly. "What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm telling you, one peach costs 500 yuan. If you damage even one, you'll have to pay me directly. I'm the dorm leader, and this whole dorm is under my control. Your bed is also under my jurisdiction." Linda stomped her feet in frustration, but Arya wasn't about to indulge her. Right in front of her, he placed another bag of peaches inside. This summer was unusually hot, and the peaches simply couldn't last more than 2 days. When Susan returned, She was thoroughly infuriated by their bandit-like reasoning, but when she stepped forward to return the peaches to Arya's desk, Linda naturally hurried to put her peaches back as well, even changed my own bedding. The peaches left out overnight, those half-rotten fruits bought from the school, had become even softer and mushier, and I could even see a few flies buzzing around them. There were also 2 strangely moldy peaches, in such hot and humid weather. Could my roommate really be a master at cultivating mold? I pretended to lean in for a closer look. Arya, is this peach going bad or growing mold? Arya, who was about to start class, stopped and examined it carefully, but she only had a vague understanding of such things. I continued with a worried tone, I've heard that flies are very dirty. Could the bacteria and viruses they carry infect us if we keep it in the dorm? Arya said with a pang of heartache, then I'll find some insecticide. But won't the insecticide kill the mold too? Arya panicked, and finally she came up with a solution. She would take the fruit that had attracted the flies to class. That way, the flies wouldn't be able to target her peaches. On the way to class, her backpack looked bulging, and from a little closer, you could smell the sour stench of fermenting and rotting fruit. Everyone around her kept their distance. Arya even breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily there aren't many people on the road today. I nodded with vague sounds of agreement and hurried to find a spot far away from her as soon as we entered the classroom. Emma, why did you run over there? Come sit here. I set down my backpack and smiled politely. No, thanks. Your backpack is so big it won't fit in the desk compartment. It's more convenient for you to sit alone with it beside you. Mainly, I could smell the rotten fruit even from outside. Once inside, the smell grew even stronger, wave after wave of it, being too close. I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back from vomiting, staying by the window. At least I can feel a bit better. Watching her cautious demeanor, I rolled my eyes and sneered. She sat by the inner wall of the classroom, a spot that was originally a prime location for playing on phones, and it was always crowded, but as soon as she approached, that sour, foul odor immediately surged out, and the people who had been sitting there earlier covered their noses and frowned. What's that smell? Who brought trash into the classroom? Arya, what's in your bag? Did some food go bad? Hurry up and throw it out. Arya flushed bright red. What nonsense. There's no food in my backpack. Why are you asking me? Are you looking down on poor students? But Arya, the smell really is coming from your side. Maybe you stepped in a sewage ditch. I didn't. You're framing me like this. Are you trying to bully us poor students because you think we're easy targets? The argument among that group grew louder and louder. Some couldn't help but move to the window. 3 or 4 people crammed into seats meant for 2. After the teacher arrived, the classroom remained quite noisy. Didn't you hear the bell for class? Sit down now. If you don't want to learn, get out. Students over there, hurry up and sit down. Didn't you hear what I just said? And you all, is there no seating in the classroom? Since you don't want to listen, I'll deduct all your credits. And you can squeeze wherever you like. The students complained loudly. Teacher, there's a smell in here. Deal with the smell after class. For now, sit down and pay attention. This teacher was strict. If you failed the course, there was absolutely no chance for a makeup. Everyone had to cover their noses with their sleeves, clothes, backpacks, or tissues while listening to the lecture. The teacher's face immediately turned green, yet she didn't say anything. Instead, after class started, she began calling on students one by one to answer questions. She kept questioning until everyone below was trembling with fear. Soon, it was Arya's turn to be questioned. Arya was playing on her phone and hadn't been listening at all, and the people around her didn't remind her either. It wasn't until the teacher called her name for the 3rd time, "Is Arya absent?" then she can forget about her participation grade. Only then did Arya belatedly stand up. "I'm here, teacher, I'm Arya." The teacher sneered, "Not paying attention in class, head down doing who knows what. You don't act like a student at all. How do you solve the problem I just explained? Tell me." But Arya had no idea which problem the teacher was talking about. The teacher stepped down from the platform with a stern face and walked straight to Arya's side, seeing that Arya had even placed her bulging backpack on the desk by the aisle as a barrier. And the content in her textbook didn't match what the teacher had just been teaching. The teacher angrily snatched Arya's book and slammed it onto her backpack. "If you won't listen, then get out." She even slapped the backpack several times with her book. "What are you hiding behind your backpack? A girl who doesn't study properly, always thinking about playing. What future do you have?" The teacher hit the backpack too hard, and Arya couldn't bear to see her precious fruit damaged. She actually reached out to pull it away, and the zipper of the backpack instantly opened, splattering fruit juice and bursting green mold everywhere. The teacher was the first to get sprayed in the face. That wasn't all. The teacher had allergies and was particularly sensitive to the fuzz on peaches and dust. In no time at all, the teacher was clutching their throat, struggling to breathe, and red spots began to appear on their face. Everyone in the classroom was terrified, frantically shouting to call 911. Some even started contacting parents, counselors, and firefighters. Stay back, keep away from the teacher, give the teacher some air. But Arya and her exploded backpack were right next to the teacher, with sticky, dripping water still flowing down. Arya, take your backpack and get out of here. Can't you see the teacher can't breathe? But Arya pouted pitifully. The teacher is blocking the way. I can't get out. Then hand me your backpack, I'll throw it out. No way, everything I own is in that backpack. If it gets damaged, could you even afford to pay for it? The whole class was practically fuming with frustration at her. In the end, 2 boys couldn't stand it any longer and snatched the backpack. Throwing it out the window, Arya let out a howl, leaped onto the desk, and dashed outside, completely ignoring the fact that she was stepping on the desk in her frantic chase after her backpack. After everyone scrambled to get the teacher to the hospital, seeing that the teacher was out of danger, they all breathed a sigh of relief, but this matter quickly became a trending topic. A freshman at J University is suspected of using rotten and moldy fruit to retaliate against a teacher due to excessive academic pressure. There are pictures and evidence below, and it's truly an anonymous post from the school's confession wall. I know this freshman. He acts like he doesn't care about anything just because he's a student from a poor background. He deliberately let things go bad in the dorm, making the whole room smell sour. That day, the teacher was so out of breath. And a certain freshman was still thinking about her rotten fruit. It was so rotten it was oozing with a foul stench. Had she never eaten fruit in her entire life? She even picked it out of the trash can. Not at all. I heard she's experimenting with moldy fruit. She's planning to sell it online to make a fortune. The implication was so obvious that the teacher even openly declared that from then on, either she or Arya would be in class, never both. The school had no choice but to revoke many of the privileges they had previously granted to Arya. They repeatedly warned Arya not to engage in dishonest practices and to focus on studying hard. Only after forcing Arya to apologize to the teacher and issuing a school-wide notice did the matter finally come to an end. In the dormitory, while Arya was being taken out, Susan gloated, "Serves her right. I was waiting for the dorm to get even smellier so I could call the dorm supervisor. But I never expected Arya would dig her own grave first, getting rich from mold. She'd be lucky not to lose money. Honestly, why do people like her even take up spots for impoverished students? It's just a waste. I hope she cleans up the dorm as soon as she gets back, otherwise we'll find a chance to anonymously report her to the principal. Let's see how embarrassed she'll be then." I shook my head with a smile. In my past life, Arya really did make something of herself. Selling items for tens of thousands of yuan, Susan and Linda saw that something costing less than a couple hundred yuan could be sold for so much in the blink of an eye, and their eyes instantly turned green with envy. She even deliberately let fruit rot in the dormitory herself, but when they did it, it was truly letting it rot. Those fruits decayed and bred maggots. It made them so disgusted that in the end, they had to pay an extra 500 points to hire a cleaner to tidy up. After discussing it, the two of them tried to curry favor with Arya, hoping she would take them along to make money, and Arya, being quite business-savvy, straightforwardly told them that if they cultivated the moldy fruit, the profits would be split 50-50, otherwise, she absolutely wouldn't teach them. In this lifetime, Arya hadn't given them any benefits to see, yet they still schemed to cause trouble behind her back. With a click, the door opened. It was Arya returning. Susan and Linda turned their heads in unison, completely ignoring her. Arya's expression was also very unpleasant, looking at us as if we had done something wrong to her, but I didn't care. I even smiled and greeted her. "Arya, you're back. I saw some mold growing on the oranges under your desk. Shouldn't they be sold soon?" Arya lifted her head proudly and said, "Don't you dare ruin them, those have already been reserved." 15 oranges, a full 7,500 yuan, I gasped, covering my mouth. "That's amazing, you're really good at making money," and Susan and Linda instantly felt a sour taste in their mouths. Susan's phone rang, and as I turned slightly, I saw the message Linda had sent her. "She's doing all this in the dorm, shouldn't she give us some compensation too?" "Right, this is our dorm too, why should she be the only one making money?" At first, they were just venting, but Arya carefully placed the moldy orange on the table, and after about half an hour, Someone knocked on the door to buy her orange. They even transferred 10,000 yuan to her on the spot. Susan wasn't happy about it. That's 15 oranges, 7,500 yuan. You transferred too much. Arya, who had been secretly pleased with the extra profit, now turned cold-faced. Susan, what do you mean? What does this have to do with you? If you don't know how to talk, shut your stinking mouth. You're lying. It's clearly 7,500, but you're asking for an extra 2,500. He gave it willingly. Why are you meddling? Linda chimed in, raising her voice. Arya, we're not meddling, but taking an extra 2,500 from someone is fraud, isn't it? What if they report you to the police? Think how bad it would sound if word got out. We're just looking out for you. Greed for small gains leads to big losses. Hurry up and give the money back. Arya raised her voice sharply, shouting, what the hell do you know? It's so much trouble for me to cultivate these oranges. What's wrong with him giving me a little extra for my hard work? Who are you to interfere? With that, she turned to the buyer and said, tell me, did I cheat you out of your money? The man glanced at me, then immediately turned back. No, I have a high demand for mold. This is just a deposit. No need to give me any change. If you have more moldy oranges like these in the future, sell them to me. Oh, there's another dorm in your school. I've already bought 300,000 yuan worth of moldy oranges from her, but it's still not enough. If you have time, you can cultivate more. I'll buy as much as you have, no matter the price. Susan and Arya's faces turned ashen with shock. They watched as Arya filled the entire dorm room with moldy fruit, not even willing to throw away those that had completely rotted and oozed liquid, all in the hopes of finding a way to sell them at a high price someday. They couldn't help but feel envious. In the dorm, they quietly followed Arya's lead and started making moldy fruit themselves. I happened to return to the dormitory once and saw Arya, Susan, and Linda starting to argue again. All the moldy fruits in the dorm are mine. If it weren't for my mold, how could your fruits have grown mold? I haven't even asked you for mold transfer fees, and you dare to shout at me here. Arya, are you even making sense? The dorm isn't yours alone. What does it have to do with you if we make our own moldy fruits? Why must the mold be related to you? Exactly, if you have the guts, don't make moldy fruits yourself. Since you insist on doing it in the dorm, you have no right to criticize us for doing the same. After that, the atmosphere in the dorm grew increasingly tense. The conflict even spread to me at one point. They all privately messaged me, urging me to take sides, and Arya's invitation was especially enthusiastic. Emma, you and I can handle the fruit together. I don't believe we can't outdo them. When the time comes, I'll sell you a moldy fruit for 499, and you can just split the profit with me. Meanwhile, Susan and Linda, fearing that Arya might lure me over with benefits, actually offered to give me the mold for free, on the condition that I join them in isolating Arya. But I had long been planning to pack up and move out of the dorm. Unlike them, I hadn't been returning to the dorm much at night lately, and I had already packed up most of my things. I had also spoken with the dorm supervisor and counselor to arrange the procedures for living off campus. I could only reluctantly say in the group chat, I have a sinus issue, and there's too much penicillin in the dorm. I'm not feeling well. So I've already moved out and won't be able to join you in making a fortune. Seeing my message, they completely lost their minds. They were screaming and shouting in the dorm group chat, hysterically claiming that my bed was theirs. Sometimes they drew a line down the middle, and other times they deliberately took up space just to start trouble. The moldy fruit situation escalated to a fever pitch, and they even started sabotaging each other's moldy fruit. To prevent the other party from bringing the fruit into the classroom, the three of them were practically marinated in the sour stench, and even from a distance, the smell faintly lingered around my nose. Looking at their bulging backpacks, I felt nothing but nervousness and excitement, because, in a moment, it would be calculus class, and the counselor would be bringing the principal and other math teachers from the school to observe. As soon as the calculus teacher entered the classroom, he caught a whiff of a strange odor. Boys in the back row, take the trash out, something must have rotted. What a pungent, foul smell. As he spoke, he even fanned the air near his nose, but as other teachers came in, the sour, foul stench in the room didn't lessen. Instead, it grew stronger and more intense. The advanced mathematics teacher's expression grew increasingly grim. Such an important lecture, and this smell was simply ruining her image. The teacher felt it was unacceptable and, disregarding the high summer temperatures, asked the students by the window to open them wide for ventilation. To further demonstrate her teaching achievements, she had the students stand up one by one to answer questions. This time when it was Arya's turn, she didn't fall behind, but what was horrifying was that Arya sneezed twice in a row. With the last sneeze, 2 worms actually shot out of her nose and landed on the neck of the counselor sitting in front of her. The counselor only felt an itch on his neck. When he reached up to scratch it, he was shocked to see a squirming, curved maggot. The deafening scream stunned everyone in the classroom. The counselor shivered and dashed outside. Arya sneezed again, losing her balance and collapsing onto her chair. The backpack hanging behind her, left open for ventilation, now erupted with a mushroom cloud of penicillin in the air. The immense force scattered countless tiny insects like a shower of celestial blossoms. The whole class was terrified. The bug exploded. It's so gross. Ah, the bug got into my neck. Someone help me. Holy shit. Ugh. The entire classroom swarmed out, each person rushing to the restroom. The principal, his face pale and hands trembling, also called the police. Arya seemed completely stunned, allowing the insects spraying from his backpack to fall onto his body, one by one. They spread and crawled over her hair, nose, face, and even her body. After a long while, she finally screamed in terror, but no one around dared to approach her. Even when she rushed into the restroom, her classmates treated her like a contaminant, isolating her in a toilet stall. Some people fetched water and poured it down from the top of the restroom. Upon seeing the bugs washed out by the water, they screamed and ran out of the school building. Susan and Linda also looked deathly pale. Their backpacks fell to the ground in the chaos. The moldy fruit inside spilled out. The stressed-out classmates pushed them into the restroom without a second thought, ignoring their frantic banging on the door and refusing to let them out. My scalp tingled with waves of horror. My whole body felt as disgusting as if it were crawling with insects. I couldn't wait to get back to my rented room and spent 2 hours in the shower, but the sense of disgust and those images still lingered, refusing to fade away. When the class group chat notified everyone about classes again, it was already Monday of the new week. That classroom and the entire teaching building had been quarantined and disinfected. After that, the teacher even changed the classroom entirely. Arya's actions had a severe impact, and evidence was everywhere in the dormitory. It was said that when the principal and the counselor went to inspect the dormitory that day, bugs were crawling all over the walls. The screams of the girls in the entire dormitory building were almost enough to pierce through the school. No matter how hard the principal tried to suppress it, he couldn't keep it under wraps, and it even attracted a large number of reporters, the Education Bureau, the National Health Commission, and others, all rushing to report and investigate. Schools across the board faced extremely rigorous inspections. The level of care and attention given to impoverished students and those from difficult family backgrounds also increased. More importantly, it is essential to start prioritizing students' mental health to resolutely prevent incidents like Arya's from happening again. Arya was placed under close observation, penalized with demerit points, and the incident was recorded in her file. Later, during classes, even when she returned to the classroom, those around her kept their distance. The entire row and line where she sat were left completely empty. Susan and Linda sat in the last row of the classroom, also isolated, yet no one sympathized with them, because their very presence reminded their classmates of the shadow cast by the moldy fruit. Previously, classmates who sat nearby, burdened by heavy psychological trauma, had even neurotically stuffed fruit crawling with maggots into the backpacks of the 3 girls. This made the lives of the 3 even more unbearable, and their academic performance suffered greatly as a result. I broke out in goosebumps all over. On my way back to the rental that day, I saw someone blocking the path ahead. Noticing my presence, she crushed something in her hand. With a puff, a layer of mist exploded into the air. I took a step back, afraid that Arya might come looking for me again, but unexpectedly, it turned out to be Susan. I breathed a sigh of relief. "Susan, what are you doing here?" Susan stiffened for a moment, then slowly walked toward me. "Emma, I should be the one asking you that. What are you doing here?" I sensed something off about that question. "I'm going back to my rental place." "Aren't you supposed to be with us in the dorm? Why did you move out? You didn't move out in your past life." My heart skipped a beat. I wanted to run, but it wasn't just her. Arya and Linda were also hiding in the shadows. "Emma, it's all because of you. If it weren't for you, how could I have been isolated by the whole class? You've already rented a place outside, so why won't you let me use it for my moldy fruit experiments? It's all your fault." I didn't dare stop for a moment, frantically running toward the crowded areas. On the way, I spotted a parked taxi and without a second thought, jumped in, telling the driver to head straight to the police station. Along the road, Arya and the others chased after the car, cursing loudly, their eyes fixed on me with a sinister glare. As if they wished they could skin me alive. Seeing that I was about to escape completely, Arya actually set her sights on a child eating at a snack street stall beside her. A chill ran down my spine. "Stop the car, stop it now." Before I could finish, the driver cursed and got out, swiftly tying the person up. He pulled out his phone and dialed the police. "Hello, I'm a DD driver." "No, wait. I've caught 3 people who seem mentally unstable, and they're showing strong aggression toward others." The driver rattled off an address. Soon, Arya was taken away by the police. Before leaving, they stared at me with a sinister gaze, but in order to make money, they secretly cultivated large quantities of moldy fruit in a warehouse at the corner of the school, deliberately harmed others, and even premeditatedly plotted to harm me. They were sentenced to 6 months in prison. Before being imprisoned, they were also found to have been exposed to moldy fruit for a long time, leading to fungal infections in their lungs, causing difficulty breathing and coughing up blood. There was even a faint trend toward cancerous changes. Their family was not well off to begin with, and these illnesses only made matters worse. When I saw them again, the spark of life had already vanished from their eyes. I only heard that after their family sold everything they had to cure the 3 of them, they arranged for deep hypnosis to make them completely lose their memories of that period. Later, the memories of Arya, Susan, and Linda returned to their first year of high school. They started studying from the first year of high school, preparing to go through the college entrance examination all over again. As for me, after graduating smoothly from university, I went to another city to pursue postgraduate studies, continuing my own life, with no further connection to them. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.